Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gertis, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
You know, the three of us, I would say we're patriotic.
Oh, yeah.
We love our country, and I don't know if you're like me, but, you know, every time I see the American flag, it moves me. I remember all those years playing baseball before every game, doing the national anthem, and it just never. What are you laughing at?
I know where you're going with this. I was just like, what is he doing?
Okay, finish my thought, buddy. I want to see if we're on the same page.
All right, so, after church or whatever, when you're driving around, and you're like,
yeah, you know where
and
this
you
is
see
going.
this big, huge American flag in the air. 90% chance, unless it's within context, it's a new home builder.
I'm out. I'm gonna let you finish.
Am I right?
So true.
You're
That's
right.
so
Am I
true.
right?
Yeah. You're right. We get excited. I think new builds, in my opinion, offer probably some of the best opportunities for any buyer. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a third-time home buyer, you're an investor. There's something that's magical about new builds, and oftentimes there's some incredible opportunity in your process to building and your path to building personal wealth in real estate. So the temptation always is you see that flag, and maybe you just have nothing else to do. It's one of those things that you walk into with no intention of buying a home, but that house looks amazing, and the cookies in the little Dutch oven smell, or Betty Crocker cookie thingy, whatever, they smell good. And next thing you walk out, and you are now under contract, and you do not have representation. In my opinion, one of the worst things that you can do. Because, Ryan, when you walk into a sales office at a new build, one, there will be a placard there that says if you're working with a realtor, they must accompany you on your first visit. What that means, if you walk in without one of us, you forfeit, and that is a strong word, but I can't come up with a different word. You forfeit your right to representation. Now, here's the dangerous part. You're now sitting across the table from someone who very well groomed, very well spoken, very spunky. They know their stuff. They act like they're your best friend, kind of like going to a timeshare presentation. But
and has an incredible product.
But oftentimes the builder is a publicly traded company. They work for a corporation, and make no mistake about it. They have their builders, they have their company's best interest in mind, never yours.
Right, and it is a good product. And, I mean, to put it bluntly, right, if it's brand new. So
it's like the new car smell.
The chances of something going wrong in a brand new home are less likely than a home that's 50 years old, right? Can things still go wrong? Absolutely. And so, I mean, I can sit here and really try to sell it and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you need to be having your own independent inspection. Okay. And so we've had Anthony in here before. You should not be afraid to go to the builder and say, hey, I need my own inspection. So that being said, the thing that it really boils down for me is the contract. So when you buy a resale home, what you don't know is that wherever you are, whether it's in Milwaukee, Phoenix, Miami, Dallas, right, they have contracts that are written by local lawyers that know the local culture, know the local law, all the statutory idiosyncrasies, right? And then they build a template, a boilerplate that everybody uses because it's fair for buyer and seller. These builders draft up their own contracts that benefit only them.
Yeah,
100%.
That's 100% true.
They will follow the rules and the laws that they must follow because they are legally obligated to. But above and beyond that, it is 100% written in the builders.
Give us an example.
Okay, when earnest money goes in, most of them here have a minimum of 6 months before anyone can take up any charges with them in case something were to go down. So, case in point, they tell you that they're going to have this spec home, which is 90% built, done in 6 months or done in 1 month. 6 months later, it's still not done, and you try to cancel, bye-bye earnest money. Okay, that's the way that most of these are written.
And they're probably not paying you interest.
Oh, no, they're definitely not. So they can do whatever the hell they want to do, and there's no repercussions that they are responsible for. It's just them saying, well, we're doing the best that we can, and that's the blanket that they like to hide under.
Well, Justin, going back to our patriotism and this being America and all that good stuff, America, as far as just the corporate side of things, it is. For good or for worse about this country, it's always about the bottom line. It's always about the bottom dollar. Nobody builds a business to not make money.
Correct.
Right? And so one of the things that, the reason why builders, in my opinion, they don't really want you to have representation. And they're so stiff on those rules because if I represent you, if I take you and your wife, Sabrina, into a new build and we represent you, and by the way, what are you guys doing this Saturday? I'd love to take you guys out shopping. And I take you in there, the builder, in most cases, is going to pay me for bringing you in, right? And they'll pay my broker and we'll earn a commission. That is money out of the builder's pocket in their eyes. That hurts their bottom line. So when they have the opportunity to sell you and Sabrina a home without representation, it increases their bottom line.
So I think a lot of people, consumers out there, think that if they're walking in without a realtor, they're going to get a better deal because they don't have to pay you. It's very misunderstood.
Great point.
And the other side of things is, in our world is lending. You guys can't. In an existing home, you can't steer somebody. You can't push them to certain people. You can give recommendations, but ultimately, it's their decision on who they want to go with as far as a lender and things like that. Well, in these new builds, they do beat to their own drum. They do kind of steer because they're like, you can only use this lender if you want to receive this incentive. Now, depending on the time, and keep in mind with new builds, this can shift on a dime at any time. If they're desperate for people, they will give you really good incentives, really good interest rates, and it is beneficial to you to use their lender. But in a lot of times, they're just jacking up their interest rates because they know that they got you. They already have you. So if you're not shopping out and doing your due diligence on the lender side, they're taking you that way. But that's what's great about the representation. You guys are always saying, get a second opinion, get a third opinion. Let them tell you if this is a good deal. And most lenders will tell you, I can't beat that. That's great. Or, you know what, this is not a good deal. But also keep in mind, 6-month build times, right? Those new build lenders, they are able to, and I don't want to put, but we do see it. We do see manipulated documents from the start, and then when it comes down to locking, there's different numbers there, dramatically different numbers there, and don't think that you're locked in with them. And this is reason why you need to have representation from an agent, because they can tell you from the start to the finish with that long process what you can and cannot do. And you guys do a great job at that. Let us give you a second opinion on that. And a lot of times when we are coming down to the lock period of time, when they are giving you these great incentives, it's also coming back in the charges on line A on your loan estimate. So
nothing's free in life.
Nothing is free in this world. So yes, I completely agree with you guys. You have to have that representation. You're not paying for it.
I think, Ryan, there's also a list of things, and it might be strong for me to say it, that buyers don't want you to know. I know the very first thing
builders?
Builders, yeah, builders. You know what I meant.
I know what you meant.
There are certain things that builders don't want you to know. And I'm going to talk about two of them. One of the very first things that I look at for any buyer, whether it's a new build or a resale, I'm always looking at, does that house, I open up the map, does that house back up to a major road? Because for me, I have a lot harder time selling your home if it backs up to Camelback or backs up to Indian School. I also
Any major road.
Any major road. I also have a more difficult time if your house backs up to power lines, because people just think that they're going to come out with three-headed kids, right? And those are the two big ones. When I walk into a builder, I've never seen a builder give anyone a discount on a home that backs up to a major road or backs up to power lines. They're never going to tell you that could potentially impact the value of your home when you go to sell it one day.
I think that it goes even deeper than that. I mean, and I'm okay with that. I mean, you want to highlight and showcase the best things about anything,
Sure.
because you want to get people in the door, and they're in a business. I'm not hating on that, but I'm gonna argue with you a little bit. I have run into some good on-site agents who have been out there and have brought up those like, hey, look, there's all these wonderful things about this community, about this home, about this lot, about this everything. But just, hey, FYI, I've seen some of them do that.
Do you think that's a directive from the board of directors?
Nope. I think that's just the handful, maybe the 10, 15% that are cream of the crop that do truly want to do good by their people. But I can guarantee you that was not in their training with that builder.
Right.
Right? So I don't, and I'm saying all this because I've worked with some really good on-site agents who I really felt like they were looking out for the best for their homeowners. So I don't want to throw them all under the bus, but I can promise you that if the builder, like the actual owner of the company, saw them doing that, they'd probably be like, well, that just cost me X amount of dollars. So, and I also wanted to touch on something that you said, Justin. It's not just about having somebody to represent you. It's about having the right somebody, because there are a lot of intricacies in the new home building process. You've got to know something about construction. You've got to know something about what the framework of it is, what the pad work of it is, and what the future of it, when to get into a builder, what phases they roll out, so on and so forth. So, and also going on down the negotiation alley, I've already have pre-negotiated with a handful of builders out there to where I can walk in and get access to spec homes that have not been released yet, that we can get contracts under, that we've had, like, particularly
I've seen you guys do it.
Yeah, particularly right now, we have pre-negotiated interest rates that still have a 4 in front of them, and so we've done that, and so I know that when they walk into when somebody that is unrepresented walks into these builders, they're not even going to be mentioned. Even if they're asking, it's not going to be offered. But because of how much business we push onto some of these builders, the good ones, and that we've had strong relationships with the good on-site agents, that we can streamline these systems, get them a hell of a lot better deal right up front, and everyone's happy.
Can we all agree that I'm too pretty for prison? So imagine, you talked about the quality of representation. Imagine if one of us committed a crime and we were going to face a judge and a jury. You typically in this country, you have two options. You can have a court-appointed attorney, court-appointed representation, or if you can afford it, you can go out and get the best representation. You always want the best representation. Imagine if you could go out and get the best representation and it didn't cost you anything. That's what we're talking about.
Why wouldn't you?
You have the opportunity to have the best representation at no cost to you.
Well, I would put a little asterisk right there, too. Because
about me being too pretty for prison, or just about the quality of representation?
all the above, right? I am going to put some builders out there on blast. Just because the market's going well doesn't mean that you stop offering compensation. Guess what? I remember you, and I'm just going to tell buyers that you guys are pieces of shit and that you're too cheap, and that if you're not wanting to bring in good quality representation, you're probably not wanting to bring in good quality tradesmen to build your home.
Correct.
So screw you.
And there must be something wrong with your product.
Yeah.
Well,
So there it goes.
There you go. I'm not sure. I've got a lot of things running in my head right now, so I'm just going to say thank you for the things that I don't say.
I didn't mention anyone by name.
No, you did
but
not.
But if you are a buyer thinking about a new home, give me a buzz. I'll give you those names straight up.
Do not make the mistake of walking into a new build without representation. Text the word build to 623AZ Recon. We have an arrangement. We have nearly 25 real estate wealth managers on our team all over the valley. It's the arrangement that we have with every single one of our clients. It doesn't matter the day of the week. If you're driving home from church, you see that flag and that you're tempted to walk in there, you're going to have our number, you're going to text us, and we're going to make sure that you have the best representation in very, very short order. But if you want to know more strategies about buying new builds, you want to know the pitfalls to avoid, you want to have an open discussion about the new build process, all you got to do, again, is text the word build to 623AZ Recon. That's build to 623AZ Recon.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ Recon.